Hello, everybody. Welcome to the debut premiere episode of the Fins Faithful podcast on YouTube. We're all in a little bit of a better mood today on Monday, following a Dolphins comeback victory. It was a strange day, to say the least, for the Dolphins, starting around 11 a.m. with Tyreek being detained in handcuffs. But it ended with the Miami Dolphins victory. And on this very special first episode, I have a guy who's been with me from the start, supporting me, helping me get to this whole thing, and somebody who I now call a friend, Bobby Finstock from the Finstock Sports Network. Bro, what's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You're finally here. You've broken the barrier. You're on YouTube for the first ever episode of Fins Faithful podcast, live on YouTube. I'm happy to be here to be your first guest. It's so cool.
Dude. Oh, I'm excited to have you. I told you the first time this happened, you're going to be the man that comes on. Bobby, before we start, tell everybody a little bit about the Finstock Sports Network. Guys, they don't just do Dolphin stuff. They do Heat, Marlins, wrestling, fantasy football, you name it, they have it. Bobby, kind of tell us how you started that and how's it growing so far for you?
Yeah, man. FTSN, Finstock Sports Network. I think we're on 3 years now, or 2.5 almost. But yeah, we started off myself with the Finstock Today show. Started off with Fish Tank Hank, and then we had Finstock Overtime. Of course, we were talking about Miami Dolphins, hence why it was called Finstock. But loving sports the way I do, I wanted to kind of branch out and talk other sports. Of course, Miami Heat. As you've talked about, did the Goon Squad, and then we went into professional wrestling. We have multiple Dolphin shows. We got Fins Talk Today. We got the Fins Bandwagon with Finstanza, who's in the house right now. Just popped in the comments. Happy to see Evan there, my co-host on the pregame and postgame show. We have 2 wrestling shows. We got fantasy football, which is killing it, Once Upon a Sunday. We got college football, Touchdown in Paradise, and Miami Hurricanes podcast, Caneswear, which will air its 3rd episode tomorrow. They had a killer show last week. But yeah, just everything. We talk all the sports, and we're just excited with the continued growth, and obviously excited to support shows around the Dolphins Twitterverse and Contentverse, like supporting the Fins Faithful podcast.
Yeah, thank you, man, and welcome again, Evan Finstanza, to the chat, buddy. Yeah, and likewise, man, you got our support here at the Fins Faithful Pod, and we'll do some collabs in the future. We'll be on together on one of these shows a lot. All right, now let's talk about what everybody's here for. I think it's fair to start what happened before the game, right? I turn on my TV. It's about 11 o'clock. Or actually, my brother walks and he tells me, "Hey, did you hear what happened with Tyreek?" I'm like, "Oh, no. Did he get hurt?" "No, he's arrested outside the stadium." And it was one of, when you have in sports those moments when, like, things happen. I remember, like, I don't know, for example, the Jose Fernandez death. I mean, just moments that you're like.
Surreal.
Surreal is the right word. We see the video. I think the big thing here is the way the Dolphins handled this situation. The way Tyreek handled it, the way, Calais Campbell, his teammates came in and helped him. Because, the concerning thing for me here is this could have got real out of hand, Bobby.
Yeah.
You had fans outside the stadium. You're talking pre-gaming. They started drinking, 8 o'clock in the morning, 9. What if they get involved? What if this escalated over what? Because he didn't roll his window back down? At some point here as an officer, you got to de-escalate the situation, not escalate it, and kind of read the situation is, okay, he's giving you an attitude. He's an athlete. His face and name is all over the background of where you're arresting him at. There's going to be 70,000 people coming to watch him play on week 1. They know that. So at some point, you just got to say, okay, whatever, he's being a dick. Grab his license, give him the citation, and move on. They clearly didn't. But I commend the Dolphins for how they handled the situation, and the players did. Because, I can't imagine having to go to work and play a game, 2 hours later. What were your thoughts on the whole situation, Bobby?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
Finding out right before or just as we were going live, me and Finstanza, we had that live raw reaction to the situation, and it did not look good. It did not. There was, I felt like it wasn't right. It seemed over exaggerated. It seemed like it was totally unnecessary for a traffic violation. You read the statement from the Miami Police Department Union. Of course, there was always like, hey, let's see the tape first. Let's go ahead and see that body cam. Let's get the full picture. What led to this case, but it obviously, even before we're seeing anything, it did not need to get to where it needed to be. Watching the body cam footage, I will say, you could say Tyreek could have been, a little more nicer, or it could have been a little whatever. The fact of the matter is, the cop that came up to the window or the door and jumped it over, he was already fire. He was already on fire. It was totally, absolutely unnecessary. Tyreek had lowered the window, gave his ID, was telling the guy, don't knock on my window like that. It's an expensive car, whatever the hell was going on there. He forces the door open, throws Tyreek to the ground. Totally unnecessary. Then Tyreek is standing on the sidewalk. The other cop's talking to him. This guy comes running, the same guy, long sleeves, black sleeves there, runs up. Tyreek says, hey, I just had surgery. And he goes and knocks him on his ass, kicks him behind his leg. Calais Camo, Janu Smith both show up. Look, I have all respect in the world of police. They put their lives on the line. They deal with very bad, tense situations every day. And you don't want to do anything to escalate a situation or stress them out more than they are. But to me, that was the opposite end of this. This guy, when they just escalated this situation, their job is to de-escalate a situation. They made it into something that was totally unnecessary, and it looks very bad on the Miami-Dade Police Department. That after they released that video, how it looked. I can understand we could point finger. Oh, he could have been a little nicer. Oh, he could have done. But it's like, come on, it just saying. I don't need to open my. He doesn't. He gave you a saying. There's nothing going. It's a traffic violation. I don't have to lower my window all the way. There's rules to this. There's laws in place for this. There's no one above the law. He opened his window, but they took that in their own hands. So it's not a good look whatsoever. Obviously, more stuff's going to come out, but the world's watching. So we'll see what goes down.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Tyreek made a good point. If these officers did this to Tyreek, I mean, in front of the stadium with people watching, I don't want to speculate, but what are they doing, when nobody's watching to just an average citizen like you and me? I don't want to make everything about the race, but, it's just a big issue in our country. And Mike McDaniel said it best today. Look, sometimes I got to know when to shut up because I don't know how that feels, right? Either do I. Okay. But I just think that in this situation, not everybody in life's treated the same. Okay. You're dealing with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek effing Hill. You're there because you're there at security of the football game that's about to start. How does this make sense to be? I don't know if he was intimidated, Bobby, or because you could tell he was already, like you said, walking up to the car with his chest puffed out and I think he's already kind of anticipating Tyreek's reaction. Like, dude, what are you doing? You know what I mean? I'm about to go play a game. Like, what's going on? So I think in his head, he knew he was like punching above his weight, and he kind of compensated, with that and abused his power.
Well, again, it sucks because I don't know what state of mind he was in at that time. I hate to assume, or if whatever was played into it. Hopefully, he learns from this. You don't want somebody that stressed out, that hyper, that who could escalate a situation that way on the streets with a badge. So hopefully he gets the help that he needs. Hopefully he figures it out. Hopefully he was just having a bad day, and we'll see what goes down. But yeah, it's not a good look whatsoever for Miami-Dade PD.
Yeah, they did release a statement backing their officers. Shocker.
Well, the union did.
Yeah, the union.
Which I'm not shocked.
Yeah, but two things can be true. You can have an opinion on this, and the investigation can't go on, and I guess we'll just let it all play out. Tyreek released a statement with his representative, so I guess it's something we just got to wait and see. But it was awful, and
Evan stating here that Tyreek will be on CNN this evening at 9 p.m. Eastern time to discuss the footage and discuss what happened to him. It had to be surreal, even for Calais Campbell and Jonnu Smith, which kudos to them. Literally, first off, they weren't doing anything. They weren't, impeding anything. I understand the cops saying, "Hey, you need to step back. Don't interfere." That's their right. You can't get within their space. But they were there to watch, support their guy. That's their teammate. That's their brother. Calais Campbell just signed with this football team, and to be there and willing to get arrested in order to be in the right, again, another escalation by the officers on the scene that need to get, hey, look, stay back. Okay, man, I'm right here. No, you need to leave. No, we're not going to leave. We're here to watch. We're here to observe. I'm not in any kind of wrong here. And so kudos to them, though, for stepping up and being by their guy and then still having a great game. Tyreek Hill, 7 reception, 100-plus yards, a touchdown. Could have been 2, not overthrown by Tyreek. Calais Campbell setting the tone on defense with a sack at the start of the game. I mean, for him and for them to have that situation go on, again, not playing anything like that. We know the stories. We know the situations. We know what the certain stigmas attached to pulling over and everything else. For them to have that situation and to still get out of there and not play like, because they could have had an excuse. Tyreek could have had a terrible game and could have took the day off, and we understand he had a bad service. No, he came and lit it up. Calais Campbell came and laid the
first 2 plays.
That's right.
Not only the sack, but then he had the tackle for loss shooting through the gap there. So I guess that's a good transition. Should we get into the game, Bobby?
Let's do it, brother.
Let's do it. Speaking of the start of the game, a little rough for the offense. Do you kind of think maybe that affected them in the beginning of the game, or you think it was rust, or kind of can you pinpoint the offensive struggles for the Dolphins, especially in that first half, and really the first 3 quarters, most of it?
Yeah, Evan's not wrong. The shocker of the game was that he did not overreact. For the offense, the struggles, the more we talked about this yesterday, but the more I thought about it today, the starting offense, I think rust is pretty fair to say. The slow start is to call it for rust is pretty fair to say. Even for Coach McDaniel, Tyreek never played the preseason. Waddle never played the preseason. Jonnu played a little bit. Tua only played 1 series. It took a little bit of time. That's why the first half, like I told Finn Standard last night on post game, it felt like it was uninspiring football. It didn't feel like they were, that it was what I thought it was going to be. Fire, bomb it out, air it out. This. No, they never did that. It was very slow, methodical. I felt at times maybe a little too timid in the first half. And then in the second half, you saw them get a little loosen up. The defense from start to finish, defense kind of stagged out in the middle there. But from start to finish, they were red hot. Again, Calais Campbell, the first couple plays, the 2 plays of the game, the big sack that started off. Phillips, Agba, it was Javon Holland with amazing clutch turnover. They looked really good. Credit to Anthony Weaver and for what he was able to come in and keep this defense going, looking like the top 10 defense it was last year, where the offense didn't look number 1. Again, I feel better. I think as the season goes on, and I'm hoping it starts Thursday night, this offense will look like the offense we know it is and what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, to piggyback off your point in the first half, I didn't love the play calling. I thought there was too many passes behind the line of scrimmage. I think Tua had 11 of his – how many completions did Tua have? Like 23, 24, right?
Yeah.
11 of them were behind the line of scrimmage. A lot of stuff to the tight ends. I didn't like the play calling. I didn't think it was creative enough. But my concern, I do think it was rough because Tua missed some throws that he normally hits. That over the top to Tyreek, that's like automatic for them. Again, that's why I wondered if maybe, was it the timing with Tyreek? Was he still in his head about everything? But I will tell you what that first half did show me. The run blocking on the offensive line, Bobby, concerns me. The loss of Robert Hunt and Connor Williams concerns me. I was watching the All-22 today, and let me just put it nicely, Robert Jones was not very good.
No, Jones was not. He struggled bad.
And for all the Liam Eichenberg haters, okay?
Say it.
I'm going to be – Liam ain't the problem, brother.
Yep.
Okay? What the problem with Liam is, Liam makes one or two plays that are so bad, and you notice it. But
Takes over everything.
The rest of the game, the dude is solid. You can – I can live with Liam at right guard. Robert Jones is the problem on the offensive line for that first game, especially. And I hate to say it, I know a lot of people like Aaron Brewer, but he was just okay. He's good in space, the opposite of Robert Jones. Robert Jones struggles in space in this team. And I'll get to the end of the game in a minute, but I think there's a reason why they were successful with Jeff Wilson running versus, Mostert and those guys in that outside zone scheme. They went to more of a power eye, kind of power gap, man-man gap run scheme at the end of the game, and I think it suits Robert Jones better. So that might have been one of the reasons why they were more successful. But I'll tell you why I do like the win, Bobby. It was the type of win they had.
Yeah.
This win, they don't win a few years ago, last year. It was gritty. It was tough. It was, they had to overcome adversity, not only from the Tyreek stuff, but from coming back down, from they were down 17-7. And yes, the fumble helped, right? That was definitely the play of the game, was that forced fumble from Javon Holland, which is what we want to see, our best players making great plays. And I hear people calling it luck. There was no luck involved in that. I've seen Javon Holland do that multiple times in his NFL career. So that, for me, could spell some success and gives me hope for December and January if they can transition to more of that power football game that they had success, because they ran it down at the end with Jeff Wilson. I mean, did you like what you saw there from the offensive line? How would you rate the offensive line this first game?
Well, like I said, yesterday, it was the offensive line I thought did well enough. I agree with the run protection was a situation, wasn't good. Alec Ingold, as well as he did running the ball, and I love to see him involved in the offense, as Finn Stanges stated yesterday. The run blocking from the receivers and even Alec Ingold was not well. The run blocking for this offense was not good. They got to get better.
The tight ends
as well
was awful in the first half.
Pass blocking a lot better. Pass blocking was good.
Pass blocking
grades were high. Robert Jones was the lowest rated. He was like at the 40 something for PFF.
Yeah. Before you go, the pass blocking I thought was good enough. I'm not concerned about this pass blocking, even with these guards that we have, or the interior run blocking. And the tight ends.
But the blocking wasn't good at all. It has to get better. You got to get this up, because in order for us to succeed, again, you could survive. Again, the Dolphins in 2 years in a row were 8-3 on the season. Last year, number one in the AFC, number one in the AFC East. And in the second half of the season, lost all of that and had to play in Kansas City in the wild card, which killed us. Miami, the first 10 games, speed is going to be very nice. Yeah, you're going to beat a lot of teams with your speed. You're going to burn them out. But when it comes to December, you're going to need that running game. You're going to need Mozart and Achin and White and Wilson to be bruising and beating on that defense, so it starts to burn them out and tire them down. So then you could go back to killing the defense over the top, the opposing defense. Finesse, that's what Miami is. Miami's a finesse team. They're not a physical team. But the running game has to be physical in the end of the season, towards the end of the season, for order that to work. So Miami needs to figure this out as the season gets on, and hopefully by the time the bye comes down, they got it where, okay, at least we can start being successful. I do want to say to those, we got almost 45 people watching live from Twitter and YouTube on the Finn's Faithful podcast. Guys, if you're watching, hop on over to Finn's Faithful YouTube channel, hit that like and subscribe button. George has amazing stuff. He is a diehard Dolphin fan, and he's an awesome dude, and I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I'm getting used to, I got to say, the whole like, share, subscribe. I got to learn all that. I promise, guys, I will. This guy right here is, walking me through this. But yeah, please, guys, I appreciate you guys on watch on X or on YouTube. Hop on over, like the video, subscribe to the video, so you know when we go live and all that good stuff that Bobby was saying. Thank you, Bobby, for hopping in there and doing that for me.
Of course.
All right, so let's get into the second half. Things look better. I thought the defense was awesome. I really was curious to see what Anthony Weaver was going to do here, because we didn't see him, preseason's very vanilla. You're running base 4-3, cover 2, nothing complex and out of the ordinary. And I got to say, passing grade for Coach Weaver. They were more aggressive than the Fangio defense. Not as aggressive as I thought they would be, but more aggressive. I thought Calais Campbell and Jalen Phillips were the best players on the field for their defense yesterday. Kudos to Phillips, man. The work he put in to come back and play like that, Bobby, was awesome.
No, and that's such a great point with Anthony Weaver's. I saw shades of Baltimore's defense. Miami's defense looked like, we talk about physicality, and obviously Miami's offense is a finesse offense. It's built on speed. That's why I think it's important to get the running game involved and start to evolve it and get better throughout the season. And it has to get better towards the midpoint and late in the season. But that defense was physical yesterday. It was hard hitting. They got Trevor Lawrence running. They got him a little bit scared. You saw the physicality of Javon Holland, even the special teams. You got to give credit to the special teams as well.
The punter. Punter was fantastic.
Jake Bailey,
yeah.
Jason Sanders, clutch field goal to tie it, clutch field goal to win it. Then in the special team, forcing a fumble. Now, Jacksonville did recover it, but still, they punched it out again. So that tells you what we should expect from this defense and special teams. And guess what? That bodes well for later in the season when it's time to get physical. Our defense is going to be physical enough to slow down some offenses, hopefully to slow them down enough that our offense either keeps pace or overtakes and takes the game away.
Yeah. Evan saying, yeah, bend but don't break defense. Yeah, that was kind of the Fangio style, that bend but don't break. I think the Fangio style is kind of outdated. John is in the chat, said he was at the game. Tua's first read was not there, but he went through his progressions. Getting the play in late was an issue all game long. It was frustrating. Yeah, that's something you'd have to be at the game really to kind of see, the play call. I didn't hear about that. I don't know if you heard about that, Bobby, an issue with getting the plays in. Have you heard anything about that?
I think Evan brought it up yesterday that it seemed like, and it did. And I will say, our linebackers scare us.
I'll get to that, Evan. I got a guy. I got a guy on the bulletin board already.
There you go. That it did seem like there was some miscommunication, delayed communication in regards of getting the plays from the sideline to the field. I don't know what it is. I don't know how they don't know what's to be done, or how could Tua just say, let me call it out and just roll with it if he doesn't know what's happening on the sideline. It did seem the seconds were rolling down and they had to call timeout. I think they did it twice.
Yeah.
At one point they did it 2 times in a row, or 2 times in the same kind of.
Do you remember that
series.
one play where it looked like Tua called the timeout, right? I think it was either Armstead or the tight end that goes, no, get back in. And you saw after the play McDaniel's reaction, because they probably had something they liked against that defense.
Yep.
And they didn't want to waste that timeout. You could read McDaniel's lips. He wasn't very happy about that. Do you remember that play?
Yes, I do. And that's what I was saying. There was some confusion, obvious confusion there. And again, you can't do that against Buffalo this Thursday night. You can't do that. You got to be ready to go, because in spite, even though Buffalo won, a lot of people say, oh, they said it 2 years in a row now. Buffalo's going to fall off. Buffalo is still Buffalo Bills. And to be the man, you got to beat the man. And Buffalo's been the man in this division. They're the big brother. Miami has to show up and show out on Thursday Night Football. They can't have the game management issues with McDaniel, time management issues, that random-ass timeout at the end of the game, asking for more seconds. You did not need to do that. You had the timeout. You could have waited, run the ball again with Wilson. You could have done the same thing. I don't know what was happening there. Maybe his head wasn't in it. Maybe he was really impacted with what happened with Tyreek Hill. Who knows? It just did not make any sense. And I know it did not or it well, definitely did not help me with my argument on McDaniel with Finstanza, because he's a diehard fan, quote unquote, not really, of Coach McDaniel and his time management skills. But I will say I loved Tua's emotion during that game. The body language a little bit, where when he got slammed to the ground, instead of getting back up, which it should have been a penalty, but instead of getting up and walking off and pretending nothing happened and being goody two shoes, he looked at the referee and said, "What the hell, dude? Like, what are you doing? Like, we need that. You got your money." He came in too, and he was, he's hyped up after the game, and even though they won, he said, the Bills are daddy dumb. That's a wrestling reference, George. Yeah. And so after the game, he said we got to get our heads out of our asses.
Yeah, I know. I love that comment.
I love that.
I love that.
That's a leader. That's what we need for this team. And hopefully, now that Tua, he's got the Flores stuff off his back. He said his piece. It's done. He's got his money. Deshaun Watson, that doofus, that never happened. He doesn't have that. Tom Brady is now doing TV. All that noise is gone. He's got his money. He's got his thing. He's the franchise quarterback for the foreseeable future. Now you're seeing an evolved version of Tua, at least outside the field, where he's saying, now he's taking that leadership role. He's looking, what the hell's going on? Get back over there, dude. That's cool to see. And I hope that transcends onto the field, and it helps add to what we could expect from them this coming season.
It's what we see from a quarterback we had here a long time ago, right? The greatest that we had. I didn't expect Tua to turn into this. He's involved as a leader of this team. You get the money, there's a ton of pressure, okay? Because everything is about Tua in this organization. From the coach they hired, from the offense they run, it's built for him. And he's accepting it. He's like, bring it. Hey, I know who I am. I know what I'm about. And he's getting on his guys. At halftime, he was telling guys, hey, let's go. I think one of the tight ends, was it Smite or something? He got on his ass. I mean, this is stuff we haven't seen from Tua. And with his ability, and you combine it with the leadership now and how he's taking control, dude, that's a dangerous combination. And whether look, we know there are Tua-nons and Tua fans on both sides of the spectrum. But it is what it is, man. Tua's a top 10 quarterback in this league. He is the franchise leader now. And I got to say, I'm thinking good things, Bobby. I'm thinking good things just for this one game. Look, the game was ugly, right? But I think this is something I haven't seen the McDaniel regime do, is win ugly games.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it. A Calais Campbell now on the team. Let's not underestimate his leadership and the toughness he brings here. It's just I like the feeling of it. And that famous saying, a win's a win, man. This is a perfect classic example of a win's a win. Because I think it bodes well for the end of the season. If they can, like I told you earlier, they changed the way they were running the ball in the fourth quarter. They weren't going that outside zone scheme. They were doing, power gap running in the I formation with Wilson. Like, let's go. And I think the point I was telling you is, I think this offensive line with the loss of Hunt and Williams, the interior guys, or maybe besides Brewer is better in space, but the guards, I think, are more suited for that. So there might have to be some tinkering here with the running game, because I like what I saw at the end of the game with Wilson. Were you surprised they went with Wilson at the end there? Kind of threw a curveball from Mostert and A-Chain. Oh, and we got to talk about A-Chain after you answer that, though.
Yeah. No, honestly, no, because of the way Raheem Mostert was running. Again, talk about uninspired football. I know that the run blocking wasn't good, but I didn't like the way he was reading that defense yesterday. And then, of course, with our rookie out, Jalen Wright, I wasn't surprised to see Jeff Wilson. And again, he does this sometimes, though. He'll have himself a very good game, a very good couple plays. He still shows that he's a viable running back in the NFL, especially a rotational back. I was happy for him, and I was happy to see that he was able to get us those clutch first downs to stretch the field and extend the plays, and especially extend the series. Wasn't surprised. Devon Achane. Again, I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. Kid's a superstar, man.
He's on my
He's
fantasy. He's on my fantasy team.
He's my fantasy. He was my second pick.
Oh my! You see, shout out to my brother Clown Prince 21. He's in the chat. That was his famous line. This famous line this year: second round A-chain, no matter what.
That's right. That's what I did. Second round, and most of my drafts, if not all of them, I'm in three leagues. I think I'm in our OUS, one of our OUS charity leagues for the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Draft. I'm in the FTSN Fantasy Football League and another network, Ruckus Entertainment, their fantasy football league. And my second pick was always Devon Achen.
Yeah.
The Clown Prince. There you go.
The Clown Prince. Very cool. Yeah. I gotta link you guys up. You guys probably have a lot in common, man. He's a big, as you can see, Joker fan.
Very cool.
Yeah. So Devon Achen. Yeah. So Devon Achen, man. Before the game, I had the pregame podcast. I said, look, over 50 yards receiving, over 50 yards rushing for Devon Achen. I thought it was easy. And I think we see why they're not as concerned with Odell Beckham Jr. going on the IR the first 4 games, because I think their plan all along was kind of Devon Achen as their third receiver. Dude, he was everywhere.
I talked about it.
Yep. He was in motion everywhere. I saw one formation. I watched them all 22, where in shotgun, he was in the backfield with Jonnu Smith. He was also in the backfield with Tyreek Hill, and they kind of both just split wide, and you had to pick your poison. But he's just fantastic, man. He's such a weapon, dude. I think he's just. I mean, I think you're going to see him get more receiving yards and rushing yards this year, man. Is that crazy to think?
No, I think he is a. Well, first off, I talked about it before. I talked about it on Fitz Talk today and on one of those fantasy football shows. I think it was on Ruckus. That Devon Achen, it took him in the second pick. Again, I didn't just, it was obvious the way Miami was going to use this guy, not just as a running back, and he's going to be a damn good running back, and he was. He's going to be as a receiver too, and he had the third most receptions. He had 7, right? No, I'm sorry, not 7 receptions. Maybe it was 7 receptions.
Yeah, he had 7 in this game. Yeah, he had 7 for 76, maybe I want to say.
Right, so 7 is so 10 yards per catch. Excuse me. That's what you should expect from him. He's going to be involved in every facet of the game other than defense. Receiver, running back, returner. He's special. Devon Achen is special. He's a star. He's going to end up being a superstar. If you're into trading cards and you haven't yet, go find his rookie card, because that's how special this guy's going to be. You're going to want that guy. You're going to want that card. You're going to want him as a fantasy football. He'll eventually be in the first round. By next season, you'll be drafting round 1 in fantasy football, because you're going to know. He reminds me a little bit right now. Obviously, he's faster, but as a multifaceted player, he reminds me a lot of like Eckler was in his prime.
Oh yeah, it's a good comp.
Receiving,
a little faster, but yeah, good comp.
Obviously, way faster. But Eckler as a fantasy football option.
Oh, he was a dude. Yeah, he was a dude.
But but I'm talking about as a multi-facet tool, receiver, running back, that dude, that's what Devon Achen's going to be, and he's going to be so damn freaking good. He already is already. Now, when Odell Beckham comes back, Malik Washington comes back, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to, because that's going to open up the offense so much more, because then you got to worry about more guys than you're in. And Jalen Wright, once he gets healthy and into the game, it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah. Let's jump over to the defense for a sec here. How did you feel about the run defense in this game? This is our first look without Wilkins. Sealer by himself I know we have Campbell, but Sealer's the number 1 guy. How did you feel the run defense held up? Did you like what you see? Did it, or do you think we're in trouble there?
I don't want to say we're in trouble because it's so early. It's just like every other team that lost yesterday. If Miami would have lost, I would just say it's game 1. If you're a team like the Dolphins and they would have lost, we're like, hey, look, we still a whole season. We know how talented this team can be. Blah 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 blah. We knew the running defense was going to be a problem. It was a problem yesterday. One of my keys to victory for the Miami Dolphins was stopping the run. Of course, they still got that win, but they didn't really stop the run. I mean, Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne looked really good yesterday on Miami's defense. Miami has to get better. I don't put that on Zach Slater and everything. Those guys just have to get better with the run defense. Every one of them was struggling. The pass rush was a lot better. Zach Sealer again, Calais Campbell, Jalen Phillips, Agba. They were doing well with the pass rush, but that running defense, the linebackers missing tackles, they got to wrap them up. They just didn't do that. It's a situation. It's an issue. I think it will be an issue throughout the season. Will I say it's some problem that's going to kill us in the end? No. I just hope Miami could get better as the season rolls along. But it was a situation. It's just like the offensive line. We knew what they were. We know what Miami is as a running defense. It was one of my call-outs before the game. It will continue to be my call-out when we face teams that run the ball as well as a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going against the Buffalo Bills. Zach Moss. James
Cook.
Thank you. I was saying Dalvin Cook in my
Yeah,
head, James Cook. But James Cook, Josh Allen.
Oh, that's his game, man.
So Miami's going to have to, in this game, has to step up. You're going to want to force Josh Allen out of the pocket. You're going to force him to throw that ball away or throw some mistakes, turnovers. But that when he starts to run that ball, you better check him quick, make him feel it. Don't let him get past you. Wrap him up, take him down. That's where Miami struggles right now. So, it's a concern, but I wouldn't say it's like, oh, my God, we're in trouble. It's the end of the world.
Yeah, I mentioned that because as I was reviewing some of the film, man, I'm curious. Like you mentioned, it's the first game of the season. For everything we're saying, it's the first game of the season. You have nothing to compare it to. How good are the Jacksonville Jaguars really? My gut says they're in the middle of the pack somewhere. Yeah, Phillips was crazy. My gut says the Jaguars are a middle of the pack team. But Sealer now being the guy with all the attention, most of the attention, it's going to be different for him. And that's something to watch throughout the year. The first game yesterday, he was just, I would say, okay. You know what I mean? Obviously, Campbell was better. That's pretty obvious. But so that's, for me, I'm just concerned with Zach Sealer being the lead guy. And I think, as you know, Bobby, running the ball, but especially run defense on defense is the most important thing. If you can't stop the run on defense, man, we're gonna be in trouble. All right, the rookies. Your boy Chop Robinson. Okay, I'll admit, after watching the game live, right, I was like, Chop. Watch the All-22 was good.
I didn't see the All-22 show. Hit me up.
So, okay. My thing with Chop is what the problem was in college. He applies pressure, but even in the run game, he doesn't finish. He has trouble finishing plays. Like he's always close, right? And you said it's one game, but this is something that he had labeled in college too. I mean, he only had 15 tackles in college. I mean, we talked about this. But I thought he was good. I thought he got pressure, and he only had 13 snaps, I think. What's his snap count?
He was limited.
Phillips, Chop, 16 snaps. So he only played 30% of the game. It was 16 snaps. But in those snaps, he got pressure on the quarterback against the run. There was a few plays I thought he got manhandled a little bit. But for the most part, I even thought that he stayed contained. He stayed true to his lane. He held up, so it wasn't bad. It's just those kind of things of I don't think he's a guy who could play 40 snaps right now in the NFL, is my point. I think he's a 15 to 20 snap guy right now. Put pressure on the quarterback. What were your first impressions of our first-round pick, Mr. Chop Robinson?
I think how you finish is right there, isn't it? Right, and I think that's why Miami drafted him. First off, the talent, the skill set is there. Again, and his skill and talent did not match his statistics. When you look at the numbers, like, man, this guy should be better than this. At least the numbers should look better than this. Saw a little bit of that yesterday. I think you're right at the money, though. He's the best thing about him being drafted by the Miami Dolphins is that you're not forcing him into that role. He is with Jalen Phillips. He is with Calais Campbell and Emmanuel Ogbah, and soon going to be behind Bradley Chubb. I mean, think about that for a second. At 15, 20 snaps a game, whatever, You don't need him the whole game, but once your guy comes out, you throw him in there, to force your quarterback. The quarterback's going to run left. He's there. You got to force him right. He gets hit by Jalen Phillips. That's a pretty damn good problem to have. We don't need him. Just like we had a huge discussion, about, and this was on the phone. This wasn't on the show, but we had a huge discussion about Patrick Paul. He's a raw prospect. You got to sit there and you got to go, why do we do it now? Of course, Chop Robinson is more ready than when Patrick Paul looked good in preseason, looked really good, looked better than what I thought he was going to be. Yeah. But what's good about Patrick Paul is the same thing for Chop. They're behind pretty good players. They have time there. You don't have to force them into any type of situation that you could sit behind a Taron Armstead and a Kendall Lamb and company and get to watch those guys go to work and continue to learn and get better. So when your number is called, you're ready to go. Same thing with Chop. What's great about him though is that he's getting these live field reps. He's getting live NFL action with starters and in making plays, maybe not the ones you want to see, but again, with a rookie, especially number one pick, but with that, it's not like you're forcing him. He's not like the old days where you draft the guy number one overall and he has to start. This is number one overall, but hey, you know what? We got everybody. We got guys ready there. We have guys. We're set. No, he gets to come in, make a couple plays, open up the defense, those opportunities up for other guys. So that way, even though go, man, that guy he didn't get a sack tonight. Well, guess what? His play opened up a sack on the other side. And it's the same thing with Sealer. Yeah. I'm not down on Sealer as much as you are.
Oh, I'm not down. I have my concerns with him being a lead guy.
Yeah,
that means because he was feeding off Wilkins a little bit, I
liked what I saw from him yesterday. I think the running defense was more on them on the team as a whole than it was on Zach Sealer because the running defense.
Oh, of course,
the running defense with Christian Wilkins last year was not satisfying at all either. Christian Wilkins was the heart of the defense. He stood out because of that. I said it yesterday. Yeah. Christian Wilkins was the heart of the team, the heart of the defense. He was involved in every play in regards, even if he wasn't on offense, they scored a touchdown. He's running out there. It was so cool to see. He's an awesome individual. He did a lot of great things. I'm happy he got paid. He's in Vegas. I'm happy to see what he does with Max Crosby. However, I don't see much of a difference between him and Zach Sealer. Zach Sealer, to me, it was more impactful than Christian Wilkins in games. Making those clutch sacks in the end and forced fumbles in last year. I'm excited about seeing Zach Sealer without Christian Wilkins, with a veteran like Calais Campbell, man of the year, what he did yesterday with the Tyreek, but also what he did on the field. I think that's going to evolve Zach Sealer to a player that we all could be proud of, where everybody simultaneously is going to say, damn, we got this guy on a bargain. The running back, the running defense issues is something that Anthony Weaver needs to work on as the season progresses. It's a team problem, in my opinion.
And I love Sealer. I love his talent, his ability. I think he's moved.
You can't change that now. Don't flip flop.
Yeah, I'm just messing. I hate Zach Sealer.
There it is. It's Mark. Note it.
Zach, I hope you're watching. If you're watching, that's good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I was playing, bro. We're just playing.
Yeah, my bad, bro.
Salt and pepper.
I just think it's interesting to see him. I mean, I just think it changes a little bit. And it's one game. But that's all we have to go on is the one game. You know what I mean? So, and as you mentioned, it wasn't on Zach Sealer. It was a team effort. And as Evan mentioned in the chat earlier, the linebackers. I thought David Long was okay, but Jordan Brooks, after reviewing the film, on that one run, you remember that one run and they were back in the end zone where takes the long run they had. I think was it that in the third quarter? That started the drive that the fumble happened on, the Javon Holland, when they were in the back of the end zone and Bigsby had that 40-yard run or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Both.
Bingo! No,
I didn't see what.
Checkmate!
Against Las Vegas, yeah. So on that one play, both linebackers hit the same gap. They were just confused. I don't know if they're not used to playing with each other yet, but Brooks didn't have his best game. I hope that's just first game rust. He missed a lot of running lanes. He didn't stay contained in a lot of his running lanes in that game, and it led to some runs. He's a guy that I hope it's just first game rust because, like Evan said, the linebacker core I think probably was the biggest issue in the run game yesterday. If I had to put a blame on a couple players. The linebackers weren't great. But again, 0 points in the second half. Shutout in the second half. They were halftime. They were 17-7. And I know everybody's saying, "Oh, if the fumble didn't happen, it happened, man." You know what I mean? That definitely was the play of the game. You would agree with that, right, Bobby?
100%.
Yeah, that changed everything. And everybody, the Dolphins, it was coming. The offense, you could see during the game, they were gonna get some big plays, dude. It was coming.
Yeah.
I watched with my brother. I told him, man, we're like, this is gonna open up, man. It's just they're off. Everything's a little off. Maybe the Tyreek situation in the first quarter and they were gonna get those big plays with the fumble or not. That's my opinion, but.
No, and again, they tried at one point too. Where Tyreek was overthrown, that could have took the top off the defense and probably could have got the ball rolling. But again, when that didn't happen, and they got stopped on fourth down twice, and it was just at that point it was kind of like, okay, we got to roll it back. Let's reassess. And in the second half, came out and started opening up the offense a little more. Well, I think we'll see that earlier on in Buffalo this Thursday night.
Wrapping that game up, 20-17 victory. You mentioned Buffalo. A quick little preview. What do you expect here? What are some of the things you think the Dolphins got to do to get this, monkey off their back and finally beat them? Josh Allen was upgraded to healthy. He's definitely playing. I figured that. I believe Jalen Johnson's out. Their corner.
Their corner's out.
Yeah. A-Chain's something to watch. He did limp off the field during the game. Yeah. So, that's something to watch if he might not play. But how do you feel going into that Thursday night game?
Honestly, I felt better before the game against Jacksonville, but I still feel good about this game for the Dolphins.
Really?
I believe Miami will get this quote-unquote monkey off their back. I believe Miami was just rusty. I believe that they will come out. It is in Hard Rock. It is primetime. I understand Miami struggles at primetime, but it's at home. It's early in the season. Buffalo was down against Arizona. They had to come back as well. Both teams came back they were down by 14 points in one game. So they both had to face adversity, or they both faced adversity and won. I believe, obviously Miami's run defense has to do better. They got to stop the run. They got to keep James Cook and Zach Moss in check. They got to keep Josh Allen in check, and they got to pressure him. They got to force him to make mistakes. Jalen Ramsey did not have his best game, but damn, he looked good. He had some very good plays. It wasn't his best game, but he had very good plays.
I'm not worried about the guy.
I'm not worried about any of them. Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. He's not a big receiver, but he played big yesterday. I expect them to continue. I expect the offense to be a little more open. I expect them to be a little more on fire. They gotta score fast and often again, but especially with this game, because you can't fall behind Buffalo, because once you fall too far behind, you're not going to be able to catch up. Keep up with them, and then hopefully force a couple turnovers like you did yesterday, and to help you out. In regards to Devon Achane, that will suck. It will definitely suck not having him available, but that's when you hope Raheem Mostert has a good game too, and Jalen Wright and Jeff Wilson, hopefully Wright plays, and that's going to help. And I think that's why he missed yesterday's game, was to
get him ready for Thursday. Yeah, likely he did, because it's a quick turnaround. I don't know if Achane will be ready, but with Wright, because I'll be behind Waddle and Hill at the receiver position, man, did not look good yesterday. Barrios, Grant Dubose, even the tight ends, this whole thing about it's one game, and I like Jonnu Smith, but everybody made we acquired Travis Kelce in the offseason. I don't remember when Jonnu Smith was
that's fan overhype. I know.
I'm
it's like that with anything.
That bothered me the whole season.
We could have signed a bus driver to be a blocking tight end, and everybody would have made him out. Oh, look at his old high school tape. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, last time I checked,
good.
He's good.
He's very good. He looks slimmer. He looks faster. Yeah. Again, kudos to him too before the game. And again, my thing was more Durham Smythe. I hate saying this because I like Durham Smythe.
Oh,
but
he was awful.
He was terrible. Julian Hill, Tanner Connor, Janu, let them roll it out.
Yeah, dude.
Sit him down.
Nobody talks about Julian Hill had the most snaps at tight end.
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
42 snaps.
Yeah.
Versus Smythe had 30 and Jonnu only 20. And
that's
then
crazy.
Tanner Connor had 3. So that's something
crazy.
that I don't think many people realize. Yeah.
No, that's crazy. I didn't even hear it. I didn't know it was by that much.
All right, dude, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I want to end the program saying this first about the whole Tyreek thing. This is a problem that's going on in our country, and hopefully this kind of puts on a platform that cops abusing their power has got to stop. This is when it can happen now in the most public place, just because somebody doesn't want to roll a window down, or just, use your common sense and please de-escalate these situations. And I hope that this finally becomes an issue that, I've never had to go through it. I don't know if you've ever had to go through, Bobby, but like Mike McDaniel said, it's not our topic to speak on because we don't know what it's like. And without saying, I think we know the reasons why, right? I mean, I just hope this helps because I'm getting tired of seeing it on every time I turn the TV. Now that it's going to this level outside of a stadium, we saw the body footage. We talked about it. Nothing led to that kind of reaction from them. So I want to just end it on there. But on a positive note, we got Buffalo, Miami this Thursday. I'm hyped for this game. I don't know. I'll probably do the Monday lives. I don't know in between if something pops up, guys. I said, thanks so much for watching. Like the podcast. I'm used to the audio.
All right.
Like the YouTube, share, subscribe, follow us. I appreciate everything, man. If only a couple watch, whatever. Bobby, before we head out, tell everybody where they can find you and find you on Fins Sports Talk Network.
Yeah, you guys can find me on FTSN, the Fins Talk Sports Network. I'll be back Wednesday night for East 10th Street Boys. Alex and I will be talking about the Dolphin game, talking about Thursday Night Football, Heat, Marlins, growing up Miami. Tomorrow, though, on FTSN, guys, we'll be having the Canes Wear podcast talking Miami Hurricanes. I think they're 12th in the nation right now. 2-0 on the season, 3-0 against Ball State. Knock on wood. You got Real Talk Rants with Steve Malloy. He'll have Greg Main on talking about this game, talking about the Thursday night football game. And again, Thursday night football. Finn Stanza and myself will be live on FTSN right before the game, 6 p.m. Well, 7 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. for me. Previewing the game, and then we'll be on right after the game doing our post-game show. And then catch me on Saturdays on Fins Talk Today.
You guys make sure you check this guy out and all of his content. It is top-notch stuff, and he puts a lot of work. I can tell you firsthand. So check him out, guys. As always, guys, like I say at the end of the pod, stay Fins faithful, brother. We out.